All right. So on the day of the election, what was Jill Biden wearing when she came out smiling after the vote?
Red, famously red.
Okay.
Yes.
And I thought, okay, maybe. I mean, she has a blue vote dress that she's worn before. I don't know if you ever saw that. She wore it like at a convention or something, and it says vote on it.
That sounds terrible.
It was pretty terrible. But if you want to send a message of voting and voting blue, that's what you would wear.
Right, but also you don't have to send a message up with every outfit.
Amen to that. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, okay, maybe. I think you're reading too much into it. Then they don't talk to each other anymore. This week, all of a sudden, they're at the Kennedy Center sitting next to each other, okay? The Bidens and the Harrises sitting next to each other. She is sitting right next to Kamala. Kamala never turns, Biden never turns and even says hello. Doesn't look her way the entire time. Now, how do you do that? That takes effort. That takes control. Okay, so there's no love lost there. Now, here's where I'm going to prove to you they despise her, and she voted against Kamala. This is what happened at the White House yesterday. She was on prompter. She was talking about Christmas. And then she uses the word joy in her speech, and then she says this. Listen.
So I hope that you all feel that sense of, peace and light, and that just for a moment when you leave here today that you feel, a sense of joy. Because I think we all need we all need to feel joy now during this time of the season, during this time. So anyway, okay, now I'll start. You're all reading into that.
Hey, if you're watching Blaze TV, you may have spotted what I just spotted. But play the last 10 seconds of that back if you can. And if you can't, just play the whole thing.
We all need to feel joy now during this time of the season, during this time.
If you're aware, you don't use at this point, but okay, she's using it. Mm-hmm. Go ahead. Keep playing.
Because I think we all need we all need to feel joy now during this time of the season, during this time.
Stop. Just during this time. Not just the time of the season, just during this time. So now she's narrowing it down to there are problems, okay? And we should feel joy. Well, that was the campaign slogan. There are problems, but we have joy and we're going to solve them. Now, here's where that cuts the throat. Listen to the audience, and then if you're watching Blaze TV, watch her eyes, watch her movements. It's very easy to lie, but your body will always give, unless you're a great actor or actress, your body will give away the lie. Your body will not act the same way as your mouth and even your eyes. Her eyes and her body betray her here. Watch.
During this time. So anyway, okay, now I'll start. You're all reading into that.
She did not look at the crowd. If that's happening naturally, that would have easily been, if she didn't even think of that connection, you would have immediately looked at the crowd. Your eyes would have darted back and forth like, what am I missing? And you might have even said, I'm sorry, what did I say? Okay? Her eyes didn't dart. She wasn't startled by it. She just leaned down to the microphone and said, okay, you're reading too much into that. I'm sorry. Nope. That was intentional. She despises Kamala Harris. Despises her. Disagree with that?
I mean, I could see it. I don't know that I'm as convinced as you are. I mean, joy is a word associated with the holiday season.
I know,
you could
and that's why
toss that out
and that's
there.
why it's fine in this season.
Right, but she just seems to be just stuttering and looking around trying to get to the end of that thing there. I don't know. I mean, I think it's possible, but it's interesting though. Like, I'm not a fan of Kamala Harris. You may know that.
Really? You didn't vote for her?
No.
Wow.
And, veepthoughts.com, you can watch all of her greatest hits.
Yeah.
But, like, is she the one to get mad at for the Bidens? What did she do here?
I think the Bidens feel that she was knifing them. Remember, I know. I think it's the Obamas. But they have
Pelosi.
Yeah, and Pelosi, which I don't believe they've talked to Pelosi since, have
No,
they?
I think that one's real.
I think this one's real,
I
too.
think this one's real, too. I just don't know that it makes all that much sense. Now, Kamala Harris...
When have the Bidens made sense?
Well, that's true. That's true. I mean, he's famously just stutters his way through nonsensical jabbering. But I just feel like... I will say this for Kamala Harris, from the Joe Biden perspective, her opportunity to become president of the United States was to say he did a bad job. If she would have said that, she would have had a chance at winning that election.
I agree.
If she would have said, look, I talked to Joe behind the scenes, I tried to get him to move on the border, he had a different vision. And what happened didn't work. So I fought and fought, and finally we got those rules changed. I know it's nonsense and BS, but she could have taken a tack to make him...
And she never did.
Yeah. In fact, she went on The View and said she couldn't think of anything that she would have changed in the entire administration.
Because that's also true. She couldn't think of anything.
But that's not... What does that have to do with anything? I'm just saying,
you're forgetting on that particular one. You're forgetting how stupid she is.
Yeah, well, okay, that could be it. But again, if she's just, whatever the reason is, she didn't go after the 25th Amendment. She didn't leak to the media that he was having these moments behind the scenes throughout 3.5 years of the presidency. I don't think there's a good case that the problem with Kamala Harris from the left perspective is that she wasn't too disloyal to Joe Biden.
All right. Let me share I share something that I've been thinking about lately on somebody I have to call and make amends to. Let me share a story I don't think you even know. Okay. A bad story about me.
Oh gosh.
So
open up the book. Do we have to add another chapter?
You'll never guess where this is happening. Height of my alcoholism in Baltimore.
No way.
Yeah. Strange. All right. So this company that I was working for was playing around with our contracts and stuff, and they wanted to hire me, but I was partnered with Pat, and we were best friends, and we were killing it. But they just didn't want to pay Pat. And I said, I'll renew my contract if you renew Pat's contract so we can continue on. They said, fine. So they did. Soon as we signed the contract, they just invoked the clause to pay him off and got rid of him and replaced him with someone else without me knowing anything about it. Okay.
I remember the outline of the story, which is typical radio, by the way.
Right. Typical radio. Just knife you in the back, lock me in for 5 years, and the guy who I've wanted to partner with forever, gone. Okay. For no reason whatsoever. And so I'm working with my attorneys, and they're like, Glenn, there's not much you can do. And I'm like, oh, yeah, there is. Oh, there's lots I can do. Mm-hmm. And so this guy named Larry Wax came in, and it was his big shot to be on, Baltimore radio, and he was very excited. And he would say...
You were not excited.
No. And I did not participate in help plan the show. He would plan the whole show, okay, because he knew... Because I was like, I'll just follow you.
So you were so angry. You were protesting, essentially.
Yeah, and I was like, I'll just follow you, which I've never, me, I've never done that. My name was the first in the show.
Right.
Larry, you go ahead and you just tell me what we're going to do. And then he'd say, okay, right before the break. Okay, so we're gonna end here, but I'm gonna say this, then you say this, and then we'll get into this conversation about this, see where it goes. But we're ending here. Okay. He'd open up the mic and he'd say, "So, what'd you do last night?" And I was supposed to say, "Oh, I watched Netflix." And I said, "I didn't do anything. I went to bed early." And he would just look at me like, what the?
What a jerk.
Oh, my gosh. I destroyed everything. And I apologized to him. I said, "Larry, this is not, I'm sorry." Because he looked at me with these big sad eyes. And he was like, "Glenn, you're killing me, man." And I'm like, "I know. But they signed me to a 5-year contract. And I'm not going to be here for 5 years. I'm not doing it."
You're trying to get yourself fired.
I'm trying to get myself fired, and because I didn't have an option out. And I just looked at him. Towards the end, I really felt bad, and I was like, "I'm sorry, Larry. I know I'm destroying your one shot."
Oh my God!
I mean, it was horrible. He's been coming to mind so much. I don't even know where he is. I don't know what happened afterwards. And I feel like I should call him and say, "Hey, Larry, please tell me you're not like in the sanitation industry now. Please tell me that you had some success afterwards that I didn't."
In the industry. Yeah. So wait, so you lost contact with the guy and never kind of talked this out?
You'll be surprised. We didn't have a good relationship.
Oh, that's so you were bringing that up on the Kamala Harris context.
Yeah.
You think that she was maybe
it doesn't matter if it was her. She was the tool used to take her. No matter how nice she was to him, Larry was very kind to me and gracious on the air. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. I was not having any of it. I was never mean to him, but I would never play along.
Not helpful.
Okay, not helpful at all. All right. That's what I think is happening with Kamala. First of all, she has a record of knifing her boss in the back.
Totally. Okay? In fact, that is her specialty. I would say it's the one talent she has.
Yes.
Although,
knifing her boss
some
and taking
former mayors of Los Angeles have ideas about their talents. But generally speaking, the one talent she has is that behind the scenes grasp for power.
But I have absolutely no evidence of that other than her history. I don't know. Yep. She seemed to be very kind and everything else and very gracious about it. But she was at least she was his Larry Wax. Sorry, Larry, if you're listening. I really mean that. It's been bothering me. I'm going to try to find you. I'm sorry. But that's what it is. That's what it is.
Because I think you could make the argument that Biden was doing that to her the entire term. Like he was always positive about her, but then would leak. The entire administration was leaking negative things about Kamala for 3.5 years.
I don't know, though, that was necessarily him. I think, all the stories were everyone hates her. Everyone around her, or everyone in her office hates her. Okay, so I don't know if that was necessarily Joe Biden going, "Let's come up with some bad things." I just think everybody hated her like she's a nightmare. Now, he did set her up on things like "You're the border czar."
Yeah, he sunk her. Again, she's terrible and never really had a chance at success in her political career. But I will say, he didn't help.
Now, you might be asking yourself, why are you guys debating this? Because in about 6 months, no one will remember her name. So if we're going to talk about it, we got to talk about her.
And we're already there with Tim Walz, which I love.
Oh, yeah.
We've already forgotten him.
Oh, so
unless you happen to live in Minnesota.
Yeah. And you're remembering it going, what did I do?